All right, we're live. What's up? Hey, JS, how's it going? Looks like if you're here, it says zero participant, or it says zero people watching, but it says JS is a participant. So I don't know. Uh, if nobody's watching, that's fine. I'll just talk. Hey, Blue Sky, what's up? Um, we don't gotta wait for everybody to get here, but whatever y'all want to talk about, whatever you want to do, I'm cool with that. I'm a little rough. I feel. Oh my goodness! I didn't even put water in my hair to. And if I'm looking like this, if I got hair on my face to this level, um, it's usually exactly how I feel. Uh, it's been a, it's been a crazy week. I would say some really good things might be happening. I've talked about it in some videos that'll come out. I'm like, I don't even want to jinx it right now. I might be able to get a car within a month or less. Might be getting us. Oh, maybe I did already say it. I thought you, JS says, I thought you got your channel suspended because you didn't post for 2 days. I was busy. Um, I had videos queued up to a certain day, and that day came, and I just didn't have time to get another video pushed up. Um, I have to add all the keywords and the titles and the thumbnail image, and all of that is to try and get the algorithm to allow new people to discover the videos. If I just upload them without putting any of that work into it, then YouTube it's just to try and get the algorithm to treat the channel better. But I think I'm just shadow banned anyway, so no matter what I do, it's not going to really matter. But um, the whole like recording a video and then queuing them all up at once and going through the process of putting descriptions in and all that stuff, it helps me with the time because I can basically spend a few hours of my time other than shooting the videos, and I can get them all pushed up. I can do like 8 or 9 days worth of videos, just boom, 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 and schedule them to be live on a certain. That way, you get one every day. And the 2 days that were skipped was just because I didn't have time. And so I did take some time this week to queue up a bunch more. I think I'm good until next Wednesday. And then sometime between now and next Wednesday, I got to put a bunch more in the rotation. I have I've recorded some, but I haven't had time to upload them. It's work. I mean, it does take time. Even with the crappy, no frills approach of just shooting a video with no editing, it's work. It's definitely work. The homeless videos took work. They took time every day. Um, Doing it every day, just record in front of the phone, go to the library, upload the video, and do the little bit I was doing there. It took time to do it. Um, I had more time, being homeless, no job, you got time on your hands. Um, Blue Sky mentioned I might be getting a surprise check. So I guess I'll talk about it. Um, my old landlord in Pennsylvania took the house. She moved back into the house after I was gone. She's a really nice lady. Um, really nice people I rented this house from for 6 years. I wanted to buy the house, but long story short, she knows how to get a hold of me. She has my phone number. So I get this random text message one day. I didn't even know it was her because she wasn't in my contacts. But I get this random text message a couple of weeks ago and it said, "Hey, is this still your number?" And I'm like, but it was from Pennsylvania, Western PA, and I'm like, but I didn't know who it was. I didn't know if I should answer it. I finally was like, depends on who this is. And then we went back and forth a couple times, and I think, oh, okay, is this so and so? She says yes. Okay. Then she sends me a picture of this envelope from a bank, and I'm like, I don't recognize this. It must be junk mail. She's like, I think this is important. She says, I'm going to send this to you. I'm going to forward this to you, and hopefully it's something good for you. So I came back from the bakery on Saturday. So today's Thursday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 days ago. And it's a letter in the mail saying I have all this money in this account, and it's a lot. It's enough for me to go out and buy a car like that. And a used car, nothing crazy, but it's a lot of money. If I would have known I have this money, I would have never been homeless. I would have been able to go get a place to live quick. I mean, it's hindsight's 2020. I never knew this money existed. So Pennsylvania, when they give you unemployment, they put the money in this account and they give you a debit card. And I was unemployed back in like 2017 for about 3 months. And so this account existed. When I was fired for not taking the COVID vaccine in 2021, December, right before Christmas, like 2 weeks before Christmas, I had a remote job. I worked from home from 2019 before the scam. All the way through to the end of 2021, they fired me because I wouldn't take a shot. Even though it was a remote job. It was a straight up remote job from the beginning, not remote because of COVID. They fired me. I wouldn't take the shot. And so I applied for unemployment. They denied it 3 times. We went back and forth. I was in a fight for that. I was contacting state reps, state senators. I got involved. I was like fighting them for that money. But then I got arrested. It was August 12th, 2022. When I was in jail, a letter was sent to the house that my ex read to me, sent me a screenshot of. It was from the unemployment fund saying that you have a hearing for your appeal scheduled the middle of September 2022. So I couldn't go to the hearing. It's September 2022. I'm in jail. I can't go to this hearing for my unemployment. So I'm like, great, that's gone. So now it's August 12th or whatever, August 11th, whatever day it was on Saturday. I'm reading this letter. I must have won the appeal back in 2022 and got a lump sum payment for 5 or 6 months of being unemployed because I didn't take the shot. And that money's been sitting there ever since, unbeknownst to me. And they're telling me I have until August 23rd to claim the funds or I lose it, gets sent back to the state or something. And so part of the reason I'm so worn out today is because Tuesday was my first day to be able to contact this bank. And this bank is giving me a huge hassle. They're trying to basically what it sounds like to me is they're trying to run out the clock with paperwork and nonsense so that I can't get the money in time for that deadline. And so I escalated the situation. And long story short, I got a direct number to somebody fairly high up at this bank who's said they're going to take care of it for me because some of the customer service people were extremely rude to me. And I was just, I was talking to them like I'm talking to you right now. And I wasn't losing my shit specifically because I didn't want to give them a reason to hang up on me. So when they started yelling at me, basically I got one guy from India who started yelling at me because I didn't understand what he meant. And the second person was like this angry black lady at the DMV copping me an attitude. And she was like, well, you've had plenty of time to take care of this. And you waited until now. And yelling at me. And yes, it is a tight deadline for sure. And, but I made the phone call with, 11 or what was the day? I can look right here. On Sunday, so I got this on the 9th. I made the phone call on the 12th, 11 days before the deadline. I thought maybe I would have to prove who I am with a driver's license or something like that. No, nothing. In fact, I could have requested them to send a check to that old address and it would have been done. It would have been done right then and there. But because I told them I moved and my address isn't the same, they're telling me I have to wait for my address to be approved in their system and some other crap. And it's just weird. It was just very weird. And so I had this long conversation with somebody, because what you do, here's a handy tip. If you really have a problem with customer service at any company, go to X, Twitter, whatever you call it, complain, take their most recent post of that company and blast them right there. Somebody from the company will reach out to you and ask you if they can help, and it'll almost always be an American with more power to do something about it than the phone call that you made to try and get it taken care of. And I mean, I spent the entire afternoon. I thought this was going to be like one phone call. Yeah, I want to claim the money. I want it sent to me. How do we go about doing this? What they're telling me is that my address should be good to go by the 20th, which is 3 days before the deadline. And then I'm supposed to be able to call back and have the check sent to me, and it should be fine and good to go. And then, like I said, I don't want to say how much it is. I think I said in the video that's coming out next week or whenever it goes live how much it was, but it's enough. It's enough. It's like a game changer right now. So I'm looking at it like, all right, I've got enough faith in God that God didn't just send me this letter in the mail out of the blue to just shove it in my face and then whoop, take it away. So I'm trying to be patient and trying to keep my cool through it. And it's one of these situations where I think, where I get all worked up about something and I always imagine the worst case scenario, and then the worst case thing doesn't happen and things just work out. And so that's where I'm at. But when I get this check in my hand, I've got options. I could have that guy in California send that car out this way who wants to, or I could just go find a car here and actually look at the car, with my eyes, lift up the hood, go through the thing, take it on a test ride and all of that thing to all of that stuff that you want to do when you buy a car, actually look it over and make sure you're good to go. It's getting a car sight unseen, but either way, if I can work it out so I can get a car somehow and get myself enough money left over from that, I could probably get permission from probation to go to Pennsylvania, hang out with my son for a little bit, take care of some things up there, maybe grab my mountain bike and bring it back, and a couple other things, that maybe a vacuum cleaner and some things like that I got up there, throw it all in the car, come back to Houston with it. Since I'm here, I've signed a lease. So I could meet with my client up in Jamestown, a couple other people that live in that area and around. So I could go, maybe I could make a trip, and also as part of that trip, just camp and like go see nature for a minute and just like decompress. I don't know. So I'm just going to like bide my time. I've got until the 23rd, which is a week from Saturday. And we'll just see how it goes. And Tuesday this week, not only did I have to get on customer service with the bank, I can get a few things for the house. I mean, it's not a car. Number one, like nothing else before I get myself. If this comes my way, if I get this money, put it in the bank and it's there, car. No, nothing else. I will not spend a dime of that money till I get a car. Like that will be like, that's what God is trying to, I feel like God's like, all right, you need a car? Here you go. Don't go spending it on hookers and blow and, stuff for the house and all that thing. The stuff I do, there's stuff I want to do, but go get a car, go see your kids. That would be perfect. I don't know if there'd be much money left over after the fact, but you know, it just depends on how things go. Friday, before Saturday came, my phone, this phone right here, this Google Pixel 5 that I've had, this is one my friend gave me. I don't know if you can see, the battery started to swell up. And so the screen is popping out of the phone. And that happened on Friday. And so I immediately was like, oh crap, I'm carrying around an Israeli pager in my pocket that's going to explode at any point in time. Denro Zero, greetings from Athens, Georgia. What's up? Welcome to the club. Welcome to the party. Glad you could make it. But back to what I was saying, the phone, like, and I'm on my friend's plan. And so I'm like, so this is before that check. This was before I got the letter in the mail. I'm just like, my biggest problem was, oh crap, I got to get a phone because this thing might explode and this thing might catch on fire randomly. And you can see I'm still using it, but I've got a brand new one sitting right here. But I'm not, the thing has been sitting on my desk because I had to get a case and a screen protector, and Amazon should be delivering the case and the screen protector while I'm on the live stream with you guys. But I've had this new phone for a few days. But the story of what I went through with Verizon to get this phone and the ridiculous stuff I had to do it's mind-blowing. Didn't cost me that much. In fact, this was the cheapest solution to my problem, and it allows me to get off of my best friend's family plan and be on my own phone plan like a big boy, you know, so it's a good step in the right direction. I just figured I figured God will take care of it. Once again, Friday, I had barely enough money to do this phone thing, but I had money on the way. So I'm like, I'm not worried about it. I've got what I need to get through the next time I get paid. So I'll be good to go. I just, went through the process with Verizon, but I was on the phone all day with Verizon's customer support. Friday night, and Tuesday all day with them. And then I had to deal with FedEx because they were a problem delivering the phone. FedEx is the worst. So I've been in customer service hell from Friday all the way until Tuesday night. And I was just like, I was all lightheaded and dizzy from it on Tuesday night. I was just like completely shot out from constant. And, these cell phone companies, I've been a customer of Sprint before T-Mobile, the merger. I've been a customer of T-Mobile. I've been a customer of AT&T, and I've been a customer of Verizon. They all suck. So it's like, you got a bowl of dog turds, you got a bowl of cat shit, you got a bowl of bird droppings, and you got a bowl of rabbit turds, and you're supposed to pick which one smells the best. And they all smell like shit. So at the end of the day, I just didn't even care. It was the easiest way to get a phone in my hands. The only other option I could do really was to go to Amazon and get a used phone that was unlocked and have it sent to me, and then swap the SIM card from the old phone to the new phone and just hope that it's unlocked. And that would have probably worked, maybe with a little bit of hassle from T-Mobile or whatever, but I wanted to get off my friend's plan. I told him I would do it. He was like, oh, don't worry about it. Get on your feet and get settled in, He's like, it's not a big deal, but I wanted to do it just because it's a step in the right direction. So I figured this is the time. And so this phone has been it's been a blessing. It's an old ass Google Pixel 5 from 2020 running Graphene OS, which makes it even more of a pain. Because it's not straightforward to run Android apps on it. It's a little bit problematic at times, but it's been good. I've been using it for a year and a half or whatever. So, you got to do what you got to do. I got the free phone from Verizon, the Galaxy S25 Plus. So it's it's not huge like the Ultra, but it's not tiny like the regular S25. And it's, if you're going to get a phone, get the best one that's out, because it's going to be, I personally, I keep my phones for like 5 years. Every time I buy a new phone, because changing a phone, getting a new phone is it's always such a big hassle. It don't matter what phone company it is. Anytime I ever get a new phone, it's such a major hassle that I put it off. So this phone I intend to keep for 5 years. I don't care if next year it's going to be the washed up turd of, oh, that's last year's phone, we don't sport that anymore. I don't care. I'll ride this thing till the screen falls off, just like I did with this Google Pixel 5. I don't care. These phones are a part of our life. My thoughts are that because all these phone companies are so bad, you've got three: Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T. They're all terrible. I think that Elon Musk with Starlink, I think what Starlink is going to become, the antenna used to be like this big. Now the antenna is like this big if you sign up for Starlink. The antenna keeps getting smaller. Eventually, there's going to be so many of these satellites, and they're going to be so powerful, and they'll figure out how to get the radio signals through cloud cover that you're going to be able to buy an iPhone, the iPhone 33 or whatever it is when it comes out, and you're going to be able to get it from Starlink, and it's going to be a satellite phone, and and it's just going to work no matter where you are. You could be out in the middle of the wilderness on a backpacking hike on the Appalachian Trail in the middle of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, where you would never get a cell phone signal with a tower, and you'll be able to watch Netflix at night while you're sleeping in your hammock. It's going to be like that at some point. And aside from maybe tree cover, things like that. But yeah, JS says T-Mobile just went with Starlink. You're right about phone companies going under because of Starlink. But see, here's the thing. The three phone companies right now have bad customer service. So if you can put something out there that is better, because you can get a cell phone signal in the middle of the forest in places where you can't do it now, and if, heaven forbid, they give you good customer service, and when you press 1 for English, you don't get someone going, hello and thank you for calling AT&T. And I'm like, hey, I just dialed 1 for English. Can somebody speak English? Right? And so if a company comes out with good customer service and the service beats what we have now, it's game over. AT&T's gone, Verizon's gone, T-Mobile's gone. I think T-Mobile sees the writing on the wall, and they're trying to get buddy up with Elon, because right now the way I understand it is, if you have a T-Mobile phone, I was gonna try to get a T-Mobile phone, but my account is that the company is so jacked that when I log in with my T-Mobile account for my wireless internet here at the house, and I go to browse phones, they block me from seeing the phones. They will not even let me go to the shop for a phone page and see the phones. They just flash this error message at me. Something went wrong. You have to call customer service. And the one time I called customer service, they couldn't fix the problem. So I was like, forget about it. I'll never buy a phone from you. And I won't. But I did check before I went to Verizon, and T-Mobile still will not I pay my bill every month, auto pay. It comes out of my account. I've never been late. I haven't been a customer that long, but they didn't have any problem sending me a T-Mobile home internet router. I signed up, boom, they sent it out. I got it 2 days later. Everything, other than the problems I've had with the company, they gave me an account right away. But now I want to get a phone, and they're like, no, we can't do that. So I'm like, all right, bye. I'll go to Verizon. Plus, 1 is none and 2 is 1, as they say in the prepper community. So let's just say T-Mobile has an outage and my hotspot, my router doesn't work anymore here at the house. it's working good enough for me to have a video chat with you guys now. And I haven't had any problems with Zoom or anything else. But let's say it goes down. I've got an unlimited hotspot with Verizon now. So I can switch networks and be on a different company's network as a backup plan. So there are good reasons to diversify and not have all your stuff under one hat. Because T-Mobile did go down for like 5 to 10 minutes while I've been living here one day while I was sitting here, and my T-Mobile phone stopped working as well. So it wasn't just my router that needed restarted. I picked up the phone and I went to go do something with the phone, and the phone wouldn't connect either. And so the whole network was down for a few, and it wasn't long. And I haven't really had any problems with anything like that since I moved here. But Dave Gass shows up. Hey, Adam. Hey, Dave, what's going on? Good to see you. Join the party. But having two different phone companies that I can tap into their network from if I need to. The hotspot on Verizon is unlimited hotspot, but they say that they'll throttle your connection down to 6 megabits per second if you use 200 gigabytes of data in a month. Now, I don't think I use 200. Most of the time, I feel like I use no more than 400 gigabytes in a month, and that would be like streaming video, watching TV and Netflix and stuff like that. That's where you burn the most. I would have to log into AT&T and see what my usage is, but back in Pennsylvania, I rarely went over 200 gigs in a month, 250 maybe, and that would be me and my son and whoever else is at the house simultaneously streaming and doing things and playing games and everything else and downloading. Xbox games are 50 gigabytes to 100 gigabytes to download. So like just downloading one video game could be half of that. And so, but I really wasn't blowing through. So I feel like it'll be okay because I don't plan on using the phone's hotspot at home at all. I mean, it's really just going to be like something to travel with, which I don't travel right now. And also, if my internet goes down and it's an outage with T-Mobile, I can turn on Verizon's hotspot and be like, boom, I'll just use that for a bit and get what I got to get done and try not to skip a beat. And so, but I won't use this phone, this new one, until I get it put in an OtterBox Defender case with a tempered glass screen protector. It's not leaving my desk because all I know, 5 minutes, I'll be sitting in a chair, I'll be using it, 5 minutes, it'll fall out of my hand, hit the corner of the phone, shatter the glass, it's over. And I do have the insurance, but that's just, I don't want to go through that hassle. So I'm like, put it in a case. It's not leaving my desk till it's in a case. Hopefully I don't drop it when I'm putting the case on it, and we're all good from there, but I should be okay. So it's been a kind of a weird, stressy kind of week. I had to go on a 16-mile. So since nobody's pushing me in any direction to talk, I'll just talk about how my biggest problem I'm trying to deal with right now, or thing I'm trying to improve, is having energy and time. And so the energy, how do I put it? The bicycling 100 to 200 miles a week, with the bakery job twice a week, and all the other cycling I have to do to go anywhere, combined with bad eating, really bad eating, has been, I think those are the two things that I'm worn out. And so I can't just quit doing this bakery thing. I can't just make it stop. So, I'm like a slave on the plantation. You don't get to take a day off. You got to go pick the cotton, and if you don't, you're going to get whipping. So it's kind of how it is with me. I can't take a day off. I haven't taken a day off from that bakery since I started working there. And so, but I found out because I put a I got a Garmin HRM Pro heart rate monitor One of the things the Tour de France got me to do is all the riders have the same Garmin I just bought about 2 weeks ago. And it also, the only reason I bought the Garmin is because my whole ecosystem is Garmin based, and they all talk to each other and play nice together. And this thing's Garmin watch. I don't, it could have been Fitbit, could have been other, but Garmin all works together and plays nice together. So and the only reason I got the nice one is because it tracks your steps and other metrics besides your heart rate. The cheaper ones only track your heart rate and nothing else. And so this Garmin heart rate strap, I can wear it at the bakery, and it stores everything in its memory. And whenever you're near your phone, it synchronizes the data with your Garmin app on the phone. And so it doesn't skip a beat. Now, the whole day I go to the bakery, I ride my bike to the bakery, I've got all the data. I have to take my watch off because it's food service, and this would get in the way. So I wouldn't want to wear it anyway. But when I take this off, the data stops, and I don't know like really what I'm doing, how many steps, how many calories, all that stuff. And so now I've got a full readout of what it takes to go to the bakery, work all day, and come back. 50 miles on the bike, 8 hours at the bakery. Turns out the first 2 days I did it, I burned 8,000 calories each day. Saturday, Sunday off, Monday, another 8,000 calories, and then Tuesday, train wreck. I'm a complete basket case on Tuesday. And I'm like, if that's accurate, if that 8,000 calories is accurate, I'm looking at like data going back, some of my long bike rides, multi-day, hundreds of miles bicycling rides that are in Strava. And they're telling me that I would burn anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day on an all-day 120-mile bike ride. This thing is telling me I'm burning 8,000 calories by riding 25 miles, working 8 hours at a nonstop job, and then turning back to come home 25 miles. And put it this way, the Tour de France, the riders, I looked this up in the race, they burn about 8,000 calories a day riding in the Tour de France. So I'm doing that twice a week, and I'm feeling like that. Like, this explains why I wake up on Sunday and Tuesday and I can't move. And I'm like, I only rode my bike 50 miles, but it's that bakery in the middle. And so, but then what happens is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I sit in this chair in front of a computer and I do almost nothing. I try not to leave the house. And so, but I've got an appetite like I just burned 8,000 calories yesterday. And so it's not balancing out. The appetite, like on the days I go to the bakery, lately I've been eating, like I'll eat a Chick-fil-A burrito, chicken burrito when I get there, and a large hash brown. And then I eat a cookie that's about 1,000 calories. And then I come home and just eat whatever I want for dinner that's fast. And I still won't eat 8,000 calories. And I'll still wake up the next day weighing less. And a lot of that's water weight. But the problem is I go up and down on this ladder from about 214 pounds to 228, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth since I've lived in Houston. It's been back and forth like that. And it's because on the days that I'm not doing this huge calorie burn, I have the appetite as if I am. And I can't just stop myself from eating horribly. So I'm like, what do I do? So one of the things I did was I'm getting 2 rotisserie chickens every week, Friday, when I get my groceries delivered. And I'm just shredding them. Last Friday I ate a whole freaking rotisserie chicken, but it was the only thing I ate on Friday. It's about 1,200 calories, all chicken, protein. It felt great. But it wasn't like I blasted 4,000 calories down my throat when I only burned 2,000 being sedentary all day. So it works out. I Dig Sheet is in the house. What's going on? But back to this. Saturday, I So now I've got all this shredded up rotisserie chicken that I didn't eat. Plus, I've got boneless, skinless chickens in the freezer, several pounds of it. And I got cauliflower rice and mixed vegetables, peppers, onions, Southwest style vegetables, and some corn. And so when I'm really hungry on the days I'm not biking, I'm taking chicken, I'll take half a rotisserie chicken, throw that thing in there, and just smother it with vegetables, tons of vegetables, peppers, onions, corn, whatever. Throw a half a stick of butter in there, boom, throw it in my skillet, heat it all up, get it nice and good. You know, lots of cracked pepper, and just make a big giant bowl of this. That big giant bowl is like maybe 1,000 calories. 800 to 1,000 calories it's been turning out based on MyFitnessPal. So I'm full. Like that bowl of food will fill me up, but it's all like, other than the butter and the chicken, is all very low on calories. And so in the protein of the chicken is what makes me feel satisfied. And the vegetables and the filler, it's just, I got to train my body not to, like, if I have no energy, do I take a frozen pizza, cover it up with a bunch of extra stuff, turn that thing into like a 2,500 to 3,000 calorie frozen pizza and gobble it up because I have a huge appetite? Or do I do this chicken thing? And the chicken thing's actually like working out. So I lost, long story short, I weighed 228 when I got the chest strap thing. And right now I'm 220. So 8 pounds, boom, right off. And usually when I get serious and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try again, 10 pounds will come right off in a blink of an eye. It's the next 10 that'll be a little harder. And then from there, it's going to be like, really got to buckle down to get it to start dropping. But my goal is to be back to 200 pounds by the end of November or October or something. I can't remember which. While I'm talking here, I could just kind of look. Let's see here, because it's going to show up right in front of me. By the end of October, my goal is to be at 200 pounds, which is, I was at 200 pounds when I came home from prison. The day I was released, I was trying to get under 200 before coming home. And my last weigh-in was the day before I came home, April 1st, 2024. And it was 200.0 on the freaking scale. And I wanted to punch it, but I was still happy, because when I went to Danbury, Connecticut to go to Club Fed, I weighed 240 pounds. And because at Club Fed, you get to play pickleball, walk around a track all day, play indoor soccer, go to spinning class. In federal prison, you get to go to spinning class and other things, a Stairmaster, treadmills, they've got elliptical machines. It's like having a gym. I got a gym and a library. The gym and the library got me through 4 months of that. And I lost 40 pounds in 4 months, partly because the prison was starving people on purpose, because somebody threw a fit in the chow hall. So they took away all the extra food in the commissary for a while, for like a month. So my weight just shot down. But that month was miserable because I was hungry 24/7. It was really difficult to get enough food. And then, but I lost 40 pounds in 4 months like it was nothing. Up until that point, 14 months in the Butler County Jail, windowless jail, where you can't even see the sun or a tree for 14 months. I went from about 205 to 240, and I couldn't shake the weight until I went to Club Fed 4 months before coming home. Then after I came home from April 3rd is the day I got home, all the way until September. I actually tell you the day in a video because I randomly scrolled to this little journal I have, and I landed on the day that I bought a scale when I came here to Houston. And I don't know how, but so I know that I can't look it up right now, but I know it was sometime in the middle of September. I went from April to September without a scale and don't have any idea what I weighed. Just kind of went by like how my belt fits. But there was a day I went to the bakery and I have this belt. It's a 511 tactical belt. Used to be for carrying guns. Got no use for that anymore. But they're nice belts because they don't get all warped, and they've got like a metal interior inside the belt so that the belt never deforms or loses its shape. And there's Velcro, right? You got the hooky, the rough part of the Velcro here, and you've got the soft, fuzzy part of the Velcro there. And I got to the point recently at the bakery a couple weeks ago where the Velcro stopped. The fuzzy part was here and the hooky, rough part was here, and they weren't touching anymore. And I'm like, oh no, 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 you can't have this. And the belt buckle itself that you loop it through was enough to keep me from, my pants falling down. But when the Velcro got like this and there's no hooky part touching the soft fuzzy part anymore, and they're just they're right next to each other, but they can't hang out together. No, I can't do that. When I got out of prison and I put on the same belt, the Velcro, it was like this, where the hooky part was over here and the fuzzy part was over here, and they were missing each other because I was too thin for the belt. So I got to at least get here where the hooky part and the soft part meet, and it's like a firm connection. And from there, if I get to where the belt gets too small, so be it. I'll go get another belt. But that was where that's the day where I was like, damn, dude, you gotta step up your game, because you can't be riding your bicycle 100 to 200 miles a week and gaining weight like this. This is like unacceptable. But it really boiled down to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm eating like a pig. Like, I didn't do this, but my appetite's to the point where when you're burning 8,000 calories 2 days in a row with a day in between off, and you're working that hard, I could go to McDonald's and get 4 double quarter pounders with cheese and just be like, yum, 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 and sit there and be like, I'm still hungry. What can I get some ice cream? Like, I could do that. I could eat 4 of them double quarter pounders with cheese, the biggest freaking thing they make, and be like, man, I'm still hungry. Like, it wouldn't even do the job. And then, you're going to gain 6 pounds in a day because you did that. But so I just I spent about a week or two observing what I was doing, tracking the calories in MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal, the app sucks, but they have the best food database I've ever seen. You can type in anything that you ate, and it's going to tell you how much it was. And it synchronizes with my Garmin Connect app. So Garmin tracks how many calories I burn. MyFitnessPal tracks how many I eat. And MyFitnessPal talks to Garmin as soon as I hit the sync button. So I'm doing that for now. And I'm not paying for either app. Whatever they give you for free is working. Strava is the only app fitness-wise that I pay for. And that's because there's a lot of stuff that I get out of that. Plus I'm tracking. I've rode my bike. How much have I rode my bike? I've got the numbers because I just did this today to double check how much I've rode. 3,000. I have gone 3,220.2 miles so far this year, walking and riding a bike, but only 60 miles of that was on foot. So 3,159 miles on a bicycle since January. And that's 179 bike rides tracked. And so I'm, that's a lot. And so I'm just trying to if I'm going to be doing this, I can't be coming out of this. When I get a car, I can't be like, I just gained 50 pounds by riding my bike 3,000 miles. Like, what? You should be going the other way. And so JS is asking, any supplements too, like vitamins? I go in and out. I've got vitamins, gummies that I can eat. I do go through a period of time where I remember every day and then I just forget. And so I kind of sat down with Grok as a tool to kind of help me think my way through, like, okay, one of the things that I think I need to do to reclaim my energy is eat better when I'm on the bike ride. And so, like, when I'm riding to work and back on these big days, um, I'm taking I take a 24-ounce stainless steel coffee bottle and I fill it with iced coffee or cold brew coffee and creamer, and then I just carry it on my bike to work. And my water bottle sits under the down tube, and so it's hard to reach that water bottle while I'm biking, and so I don't drink water on the way in. And it's 25 miles. It's an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, somewhere in that range. And so I'm doing that without taking a sip of water. I don't eat breakfast in the morning. So I'm like, is this hurting me more than I feel like it's hurt? Because it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything that bad. But one of the things of watching the Tour de France uh, that got me thinking was when they talk about the nutrition and how the riders have to eat and how they have to drink electrolytes and how many grams of carbohydrates per hour they have to eat or they won't be able to finish the race because the body's demanding this and that. And it's all scientific now. If they can't shoot themselves up with testosterone all day, they got to eat carbs and they got to get scientific about cramming it. They basically turned it into a hot dog eating contest at the carnival where, these people shove 150 hot dogs down their throat in 5 minutes. And it's kind of like that with these gels and the different things that they eat when they're on the bike, and they got to eat all day long. And so I'm like, okay, what should I do to first of all, it's got to be cheap budget wise. And what can I do to is there something I can do to change my routine a little bit for the next 2 weeks and kind of feel how I feel? Like, am I as burned out the next day if I follow this plan? Will I feel better on Sunday? Will I feel better on Tuesdays? Will I have more energy than I normally have? One of the things I did was readjust the cleats on my bike shoes. I'm having some pain in my toes that have been coming out for the last, I think part of it's just my body's worn out and things are starting to hurt that didn't hurt before. But I've changed my cleat position and done some things like that to try and relieve some of the pain in my feet. And I won't really know if that had an effect until Saturday because it felt pretty good. I went on a bike ride yesterday. I had to go 16 miles to go to the bank and back and drop off a check. And when I got home, I didn't feel bad. But it's always the ride home. Halfway home from the bakery, my toes start to burn. I had to get some corn remover. I had to do some stuff, but my toes still aren't. There's a lot of pain in my toes that comes out halfway home on the afternoon ride. And so I kind of just went through all of this. And so starting Saturday, I'm going to just scientifically try to make myself do this exact thing. When I wake up in the morning at 5, I'm going to drink an electrolyte tablet with 16 ounces of water and just pretty much chug it so that I get some electrolytes going through the body and get some water in me. And then I'm going to drink my 24-ounce cold brew like I do every morning. And I'm going to eat a white chocolate macadamia nut Cliff Bar to go with it because I don't eat breakfast. And I don't have time for breakfast. And so I was like, Grok, give me some ideas. What can I do for breakfast? Because Grok's like, eat a banana. I'm like, I don't like bananas. Get some oatmeal. I don't want oatmeal. Oatmeal's prison food. I don't want to eat oatmeal again. I ate more oatmeal in prison than I ever want to eat again. Plus, I don't really like it that much. Plus, it takes, you got to boil water and make it. So it came down to Cliff Bar. Eat a Cliff Bar. Open the package, boom, eat a Cliff Bar, done. So I'm going to eat my cold brew and a Cliff Bar. The white chocolate macadamia nut Cliff Bars are the cheapest. You can buy boxes of, I don't remember how many come in a box, at least 15. I used to stock up on these things because my son liked them. and he would eat them for snacks, and I would always have them. And they don't melt if you're carrying them in a backpack and you need snacks, like you're going on a day hike or you're going on a backpacking trip. Cliff Bars don't melt. There's a lot of other stuff that you can pack in there, and then you go to eat it and it's just a mess when it's hot outside. Cliff Bars, they hold their own. It can be, if it's too cold, you can still eat it. If it's hot, you can still eat it, and they're going to be about the same either way. So Cliff Bars, and they're cheap. They're cheaper than these advanced athlete gels and all that kind of stuff. Cliff Bars for the $1, probably your best bet. So Cliff Bars, peanut butter Cliff, those are good too. I think they're a little bit more money than the white chocolate macadamias, but there's some Cliff Bars that got like peanut butter in them, and those are, they're so good. But I know they cost a little more. I'm going cheap. I'm doing it all. I just ordered it all on Amazon to be delivered in the morning. I'm going to use the Nuun, N-U-U-N electrolyte tablets that you drop in the water. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So then I'm going to have a 24-ounce plastic bottle of electrolyte water on my bike. And I'm going to take my stainless steel coffee bottle and put it in my backpack so that I have water on the bike. I'm going to leave the bottom down tube water bottle off. I'm not even going to put it on the bike. I'm going to take one water bottle and have a bottle of coffee in my backpack. I can handle the extra weight in my backpack for that. And so I Dig Sheet says your subs went up. What the F? I don't think so. I'll check it out later, but I haven't gotten one overall. They go up and down by about 5 at a time, but it's been at the same numbers, give or take 5 since September of last year. So, whatever. So I'm going to make myself drink 24 ounces of water when I ride into work with the electrolytes in it. So you're supposed to drink water like every 15 minutes or so while you're riding a bike. And normally I might have a tube from a Camelback going into my mouth, or right there that I can just grab, especially mountain biking. But if it's on my down tube and it's right there, I'll take them, I can drink 24 ounces on my way in, no problem. No problem. I can anytime I stop at a traffic light, reach down, grab it, take a drink, put it back. So Running with Scissors. Hey, everyone. Hey, Running with Scissors. How you doing? Good to see you again this week. Got the regular crowd in, 17 viewers, it says. And how many people does it say are active participants? We got 3. I don't know how these numbers work. I don't think they're accurate. So I'm going to take the electrolyte water and drink that while I'm biking. And then I'm going to eat a mini Cliff Bar. It says you should eat something while you ride. So I'm going to get the mini Cliff Bars, the small ones, and I'm going to eat one of those on the way in. About halfway to work, I'm just going to grab it and eat it. It'll be like 3 bites, go with some water. It'll just put some carbs in me. According to Grok, I should improve my miles per hour by 3 miles per hour for the same amount of perceived energy. So we'll see if that makes a difference. I should be able to. Now I can track my heart rate right on my screen. So I don't know. I mean, scientifically, I can probably squeeze out better speed by just making these adjustments over time. When I get to work, I'm still going to go to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to get a chicken burrito and some hash browns, which is my normal thing. And then I drink water all day at the bakery. So we got 16-ounce water bottles in cases in the back for the employees to drink. And, there's no limit. Like, nobody cares how much water you drink. I can go back and drink water all day long. So, I mean, I can chug those things too. 16-ounce bottle of water, I can just be like, and throw it away. Like, there's going to be nothing left. If I open up a bottle and go like this, it's going to be empty before I throw it in the trash. 16 ounces is nothing when you're doing, when you're like this, when you're burning that much calories. And then while I'm at the bakery, I'll eat a cookie that'll be about 1,000 calories. We got these brownies this week. Oh my God, these brownies. They're like salted caramel pretzel brownies. It was, I think they were like 1,030 calories for a brownie. And I'll save my cold brew that I take to work with me, and it'll still be ice cold when I eat my 1,000-calorie cookie. And so as long as I eat that before 2 o'clock, my body will have time to absorb all of that. And that's honestly, that's just going to give me enough energy to go home, because I'll burn about 1,000 calories on the ride home. Before I leave, I'm going to take 2 of the electrolyte tablets and throw that in the water and drink that whole bottle of water on my ride home, but it'll be my stainless insulated steel bottle. So even if it's 110 degrees outside, the water will still be ice cold. And it'll have my electrolytes, and I won't have to stop at a convenience store and pay for Gatorade. The electrolyte tablets, compared to going to get Gatorade on my ride home all the time, is way cheaper. So that'll work out. And I'll eat a small little mini Cliff Bar on the way home because Grok suggested I do it. And then when I get home, I'll have a big bottle of ice cold water sitting in the fridge. I'll probably chug that. And whatever I eat for dinner is what I eat. And so, Tom and Jackie McGuinn. Hey, Adam, I hope you hit the lottery and get a car. I might have hit the lottery. I was talking about this in the earlier part of the stream, but to summarize, Pennsylvania might have paid me a whole lot of money for about 4 or 5 months worth of unemployment that came from me getting fired for not taking the shot back in 2021. And I must have won an appeal case that I couldn't go to because I was in jail. But somehow I must have won, and they put this money in some sort of account, and I never knew about it until Saturday. And so if everything works out, it's still a big pain right now, and it's been a stressful week because it's a lot of money. And put it this way, if I had known that this money was mine, if I would have known I have this money sitting in an account, I would have never been homeless. I would have not been homeless. I would have been, everything would have been, I mean, hindsight's 2020, things happen for a reason. I feel like maybe this is the work of the Lord, and maybe this is why he delayed this, me finding out about this, because now I'm supposed to do something with it instead of then. Maybe if the money came then, who knows? I don't care. I just want to get this done. But yeah, I'm going to go out. I'm either going to see if that guy in California wants to send me a car still, or maybe I can just go buy a car that I can see and lift the hood and go on a test drive and look for oil leaks and those kinds of things. And whatever, one way or another, I'll get a car, no doubt, if this money comes my way, and I'll make it happen quick. The one advantage is if I just go to a dealer and find a car that I can pay outright for, and it's a decent car, I can drive off the lot with the keys and the registration and the license plate, and I can skip the DMV and all that nonsense and just be done with it. And to me, it's worth it. Or I can find a private seller, or who knows? Who knows, man? My Denrose says my car insurance is getting too much. I'm thinking about getting a scooter. Like, I'm terrified of that. I haven't had car insurance since August of 2022. So what are they going to gouge me with now because I haven't had car insurance for 3 years? They're going to treat me like I'm a 21-year-old idiot with 3 DUIs on my record. They're probably going to try and charge me $6,000 a year in car insurance. We'll see. I don't expect that to go well. I know my car insurance was reasonable when I lived in Pennsylvania up, and when I got arrested, at one point I had 3 cars on the policy, and when I added the 3rd car, they didn't even really raise my rate. But I'm like, I have no idea what to expect. That's, one day at a time is all I can do. I get that money in my hand. I'll see if I can find a car, and then I'll make some phone calls with that VIN number and see what they do. So JS says, can you go liability only? I might do that because I'm paying $250 a month for crappy full coverage. I would say I was paying like $200 a month ish for 3 vehicles to have full coverage on when I lived in Pennsylvania before I was arrested. And that was August 2022. I took 1 vehicle off, and it didn't even really come down by much. When I got rid of my Mini Cooper, which is the one car that I could get a speeding ticket in, they didn't even drop it that much. Oh, you pay $700 for 6 months of only liability. So $116 per month. I mean, that doesn't seem out of league with what I've seen in the past for me. I know that in my past, every time I take a vehicle off of full coverage and go liability only, it's like a month before the car gets totaled or stolen or something happens. It's pretty much like they know. Like, I took my Cherokee off full coverage. I had a 96 Cherokee, beautiful, badass Cherokee, and 4x4 with the straight 6, and took it off full coverage. Like 2 months later, it was stolen in a high-speed car chase, crashed into a curb at 50 miles an hour, caught on fire, and then they had to wait for the fire department to come put it out, and then they towed it to the impound. And when I went to take it out of the impound, the people at the impound said, well, if we have to tow it to the parking lot out front, we're going to charge you $150. And I was like, the fuck you are. So I go back and I take a screwdriver, and I'm like, whoop, starts right up. Things started right up. And then I'm driving through the impound. The vehicle's going like this because the suspension and the undercarriage was completely destroyed. But I drove that thing off the impound lot, and I parked it somewhere. And then I called AAA to come and get it and take it to the dealership where I was trading it in for another vehicle, because they gave me like $1,000 in trade for a busted up. And I told them, I said, it's been totaled, but they, it was just a haggling tool. Because I had to go get another vehicle. I bought a 2006 Jeep Liberty. Hated that thing. Had 30,000 miles on it when I bought it. It's almost brand new. Had the trail badge on it, so it was the nice Liberty, the one that you could take off-road, and it was, you could. It definitely went anywhere I wanted it to go, and in some ways it was nicer than the Cherokee I just got rid of. But Chrysler had put so many plastic parts on these things that parts that should be made out of metal would break for no reason and then cost a fortune to fix. My transfer case, it had a manual transfer case, so it wasn't a push button 4-wheel drive. It had a lever that you pulled to shift into 4-wheel drive. I pulled it one day and it just went boing and just like snapped. Turned out that a little plastic washer inside the lever broke. And it cost 50 cents for the part. And it cost me like $400 in labor to get it replaced, because I had to go to a transmission shop, and the whole entire inside of the vehicle had to be ripped apart and gone through. And it was like hours of labor. This dude who told, he's like, oh my God, I hate these fucking things, because it's like 6 hours of labor to replace this little plastic washer. And he's like, dude, it's just going to break again. Be careful. And that's how it was. They'd have these Jeep Liberty has these plastic window regulators inside the door. You go to roll up your window, all of a sudden the window just goes shunk down into the door and it's gone. And you can't roll the window up anymore. And so if you ever see these Jeep Liberties, you don't even see them on the road anymore. You see the old Cherokees from the mid-90s, you still see them everywhere. You don't see Liberties anymore from the mid-2000s. They've all but disappeared. But if you do see one, look at the windows, and especially in the rear windows, you'll see duct tape holding the window up almost every time because these plastic window regulators break. And when they break, you can get a new one yourself on eBay or whatever, and they're like $40. And then you got to take the door apart and go through the whole process of replacing it yourself, and it's a little bit of time. And then about a month later, 3 to 4 weeks later, you're going to be driving along. All of a sudden, the window is just going to go shunk down into the door again. Fucking nuts. And so I just held mine up with duct tape. And at some point, I went to the mailbox and I turned around and I saw a drip coming down from the Liberty. And it was the transmission seal, and it was only about $150 to fix it. But that was the day I decided to get rid of that, and I went and traded it in for a 2008 JK Wrangler. The Wrangler I bought was a 2008, but it was in 2016. It had 20,000 miles on it. It was a guy bought it and kept it in his garage for almost 10 years. I think it had to be. It was 2016, but it was a 2008. One owner kept it in his garage for about 10 years and drove it 20,000 miles in a span of 10 years. So it was brand new. It had the mold marks on the tires from when it was bought because this guy probably took it out 3 times a year with the top down and just drove around, and that was a toy for him. And so I bought that. Never had a problem with that vehicle. I drove that thing all over America. I never got stranded. I never had. Now, when I did buy it, I made sure that the Wrangler, because it was 2 years newer than the Liberty I just got rid of, hand crank windows. I'm like, nope, if Jeep can't make windows that stay up, and nope, I'm getting the hand crank window has been out for 100 years. So if they can't figure that out, then they can't even make a car. And so I got the hand crank windows, the manual door locks, everything on that Jeep was standard. Like it felt like driving my grandfather's 1979 Ford pickup truck. I'm telling you, the high beams, the high beams were on the stick. In my Cherokee, in my 96 Cherokee, the high beams and the lights had the same freaking knob to control the lights and turn the lights on and off and flick the high beams on and off that my grandfather's 1979 Ford had. That's what driving that Cherokee was like. It was like driving a 30-year-old truck. But that thing wouldn't die. That mid-90s Cherokee just would not die. I drove that thing through creeks that were higher than the freaking doors. Didn't care. I got it stuck in the mud once to where we had to dig. I had to climb out the freaking window and get a shovel and dig a trench around the whole thing because the mud was halfway up to the door handle. The thing was buried in the mud, and I don't even know how I got it out of there, but I did. Didn't give a shit. It just drove. It didn't care. And my Wrangler was like that. You could just do anything with that thing, and it wasn't quite as reliable as the Cherokee was. Because the Wrangler would have to go to the shop once in a while. The Cherokee just didn't care. It never needed anything other than oil changes and new tires. The thing just would not die. You could not make that thing. It was in a high-speed police chase, crashed into a freaking curb at 50 miles an hour and caught on fire. And I took a screwdriver and it started right up, like one turn of the key, and boom, it's running. Like, I don't know. Like, that's sold. Sold. I would never shy away from a vehicle like that. The only reason those things fall apart up north is rust, but the engine won't ever die. I see them down here in Texas People want like $5,000 for one of those down here in Houston, and it'll have like 200,000-300,000 miles on it. But I'm like, it could have 800,000 miles on it and probably still run. I don't know if you could make one of those not run. So I do see them. I'm kind of tempted to go maybe get one of those, but I don't know. I want something that I can drive up to Pittsburgh with and back and not spend a ton of money on gas. But this is all just in the works right now. So let's see. JS says, yeah, I took my Kia Rio out of full coverage in 2018 and got into a huge accident a few months later. Of course, that's how they get you. But at the end of the day, I know that like the vehicle it gets to the point where they're not going to give you a lot of money for your vehicle, and the money that you're paying for the full coverage doesn't even balance out with what you would get back if the vehicle was totaled. I've seen that before. I had a girlfriend it was years ago. She drove a VW Jetta, and it wasn't her fault. Somebody totaled her car, and it was an older one. And the insurance payout was pretty good, but it wasn't great. And like the car was done. She had to go buy a new car. And she ended up getting like a almost brand new Jetta. But it was super expensive because it was like one of the souped up ones. And, but for the difference in what it would have cost to insure that car with full coverage versus liability only, the amount of payout that you got wouldn't have really, like, for what you're paying for the full coverage for 1 year of coverage, you're probably paying more than you're going to get back. For me, I had a 20-year-old Mini Cooper. It was a 2003, and it was 2020. Well, it was 18 years old. It was 2021. It was 2022 when I got rid of the car in the spring. So it was closing in. It was 1 year away from its 20th anniversary. And, but I had full coverage on it because my other vehicle, I had 3 vehicles. I had a 2016 Nissan Frontier that was all souped up with a camper shell, and it was basically turned into an adventure vehicle to sleep in the back on a bed and have 2 decked system drawers that slide out, 6-foot long drawers with all of my gear in there. And it was the king cab, so it had the extra suicide doors and room behind the front seats with the jump seats. And so I could store a lot of stuff in there on these trips. One side we made it food, so we had like a cooler. I was about to get electric cooler and freezer, so we'd never have to get ice, with a generator, an electric battery to keep it powered when the vehicle's off. And all the food would sit in this one side. Then on the driver's side, it was my photography equipment and computer gear. And then in the back of the vehicle, the 2 6-foot long drawers were all of our camping gear. And we had a mattress about 6 to 8 inches thick of memory foam cut custom to fit that. And it was a great thing, an ARE camper shell that I bought used, got a really good deal on, had a really nice front bumper. I hit a deer going 60 miles an hour, and the deer just went boing. And I thought for sure that there was going to be damage to the front of my truck. We pull over, we get out. Me and my son are looking. We're like, all we saw was a clump of deer hair stuck to the bumper. It was one of these, the ARB Bush bumpers. Oh my God, that should be the first thing you get when you buy a truck, because that way you can hit a deer going 60 miles an hour, and that thing's just going to go boing off into the sunset. You're not even gonna have a mark on your car. Without that bumper, the whole front of my trunk would have been done. Totaled. Possibly, like, really, it might have made the airbags go off for all I know. I don't know. It was bad. Um, had some really bright, square, rigid lights mounted to the top of that bumper system. And then when I bought the truck, it had a light bar mounted to the hood, which I thought was stupid because it was tall and it actually kind of bothered me when I'm looking out the front windshield. So I found Rigid, or not Rigid, Rugged Ridge makes a real thin, low profile light bar. Normally, you're going to mount a light bar above the windshield, but somebody drilled holes in the hood of this truck and had a light bar mounted on the hood. And so I did homework and I got this Rugged Ridge light bar and I measured the distance between the holes before I bought it, made sure that it would fit exactly there. And sure enough, it fit precisely. But the thing was so low profile that you didn't even know it was there. But man, when you flick that switch to turn that thing on, you may as well it was like a second sun. That thing was the brightest freaking light I've ever seen in my life. That thing was awesome. And so that truck was awesome. And I had that, the Mini Cooper, and my Wrangler. And my Wrangler was pretty stock. I needed new tires once for the Wrangler, and my mechanic had just done a job for somebody. Somebody bought a brand new Rubicon and put custom wheels and tires on it. And he had 5 Rubicon wheels off a brand new Rubicon with brand new Michelin tires on them. Or no, they weren't. They were the better brand, even better than Michelin. They were either Michelin or something better. And brand spanking new tires. I got 5 Rubicon wheels that were bigger than the wheels I already had with brand new tires mounted and balanced for $700. And so I upgraded my Jeep with that, and I needed tires to pass inspection. It was going to be like $1,200 to get 4 or 5 tires, but I could do 5 new wheels with tires for $700. Boom, done. That was a no-brainer. I had a really, really nice spare tire mounted bicycle rack from Yakima, and I had inside, I replaced the soft top with a hard top, and inside the vehicle I had a ceiling mounted gun rack. And so on one side of it I had a Keltec KSG shotgun mounted, and on the opposite side I had an AR-15 mounted in there, but they were flush up into the hard top and you couldn't see them at all. Like you could be standing you could be a cop standing next to the window getting my license and registration. You'd never see that there were 2 guns above me. You'd never even notice it. So that was the only customizations I did to that vehicle. Just because I went on lots of long trips and I did lots of things and camping all the time. And, I would, if I was going on a camping trip, most of anything local, I've taken the Jeep. Anything long, the pickup truck was for going on long distance cross country drives with my photography equipment to take photos and live out in the woods for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And I just wanted something that I could pull into a place, sleep, and not have to set up and tear down campsites with. And so, but my insurance was pretty cheap for all 3 of those vehicles. And then when I got rid of the Mini Cooper, even though I had full coverage on it, my insurance rate didn't even go down that much. I don't even think it went down $50 a month. But right now, they will gouge you like crazy if you go a period of time without having car insurance. They'll treat me as if I'm a 6-time DUI offender who just turned 16 years old and got my license for the first time. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna make whatever you guys pay in car insurance, unless they'll take into account that I'm 49 years old and have a clean driving record. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. So getting a cheap car, with liability only might be my option. I don't know. I'm only going to know when I figure out whether this check comes in the mail or not. Back to the scooter idea. twice since I have moved out of my friend's house in Houston, I've seen a Specialized turbo e-bike, commuter style e-bike, for about $1,000 to $1,200, give or take. If I'm going to buy an electric bicycle, it's going to be a bicycle with an electric motor. It's not going to be one of these motorcycles. The Specialized turbo e-bike, for example, pedal assist. You have to pedal it, but it assists you, and you're probably going to be, but you're going to be able to go about 20 to 25 miles an hour with almost no effort. And in eco mode, it gets about 50 miles without having to charge the battery. And the nice thing about the Specialized e-bikes is the battery comes off. So say you go to work somewhere, you can pop the battery off. If you have to leave the bike locked up somewhere outside, you can take the battery off, take it inside with you, plug it into your charger, and charge your battery back up before you go home. You could put it in turbo mode where your range is like 20 miles and fly to and from. I would not, me personally, the Chinese ones, I've looked at e-bikes. I've never bought one. I don't know a hell of a lot about them. All I know is that bicycles are maintenance, and an e-bike is just something else to break. And that's why I don't own, that's the main reason I don't own one, but I feel like they're useful. I mean, there's days where I'm riding to work on my bike. This one day, this dude passed me wearing sneakers and just dressed in a t-shirt and shorts. And he went flying past me going like 25 miles an hour. And I'm like, it didn't even dawn on me that he was on an e-bike at first, because I tried keeping up with him, and I'm like, I'm in like cycling gear, and I got proper shoes, and I'm in shape, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this guy smoking? What did he just shoot himself up with? And it took me like 20 minutes before it dawned on me, oh, that was an e-bike. But he was flying. He was flying without putting any effort into his ride. He had to pedal. I think he was on a Trek. I would get a Trek, a Specialized. Greg LeMond has an e-bike company now. Now, Greg LeMond's road racing e-bike is like $6,000, and the battery is not removable. So you have to have a place to plug the bike into somewhere to charge it. But it's a really sweet road bike, I'll tell you that. But to take the battery out, you're gonna have to have somebody do it for you, because I looked at what it would take to change the battery in one of those, and holy crap. But that's the weak point of an e-bike. The battery's gonna die at some point. You're gonna need a new battery. And then so like the specialized batteries for those turbo e-bikes are like $800 to $1,000 for the battery. Because the bikes cost like $5,000 new, 4, 5, 3, whatever. I don't know. But I was looking at used ones. If the battery wears out and doesn't hold a charge and you need a new battery, I would spend just as much for the battery as the bike. And but put it this way. I went on a bike ride Wednesday, and I broke a spoke in my back wheel. This back wheel has about 1,600 miles on it. I just put this wheel on brand new in the March 2nd it was, because I just looked it up today. And the wheel went 1,600 miles, and I broke my first spoke, which is, for the wheel, it was like a $50 wheel, so it wasn't like super expensive. But I broke a spoke, and the spokes, I would have been able to fix it on the side of the road, but black spoke, I have silver spokes in my backpack, and this was a black spoke, and I don't even know if they're the same length. So I just ordered spokes on Amazon for that bike wheel. But tomorrow, Friday, I got to pull out my work stand. I've got 2 bicycles. Both of my bicycles need maintenance. I've got a problem with the road bike with my Specialized that needs a little bit of finagling. And so that's been hanging on the stand, and I've been riding my Cannondale. And now my Cannondale needs a spoke replaced. And other maintenance and things I may as well do while I'm doing that. And so I'm constantly like, there's always days of my life where I have to I got to have 4 or 5 hours now to do bicycle maintenance day and go through and tune the 2 bicycles, make them all as perfect as I can make them. And that way, 1 is none, 2 is 1, as the prepper community says. When I had a problem with my Specialized, I hung it up on the bike rack here in my house and was like, I'll deal with it when I deal with it. I'll ride the other bike. It was no big deal. I wasn't forced to fix it right away. But now I've got a problem that just sprung up with the other bike. Crap. Now I've got to fix both of my bikes, or at least one of them. And, replacing a spoke and doing it properly. I mean, I'm going to have my bikes in the work stand. I'm going to need like 4 hours. So it's going to get in my way of getting work done tomorrow, but it has to be done tomorrow. Saturday morning, I have to have a bicycle ready to go, no matter what, because I have to go to the bakery. So JS says, there's a way to rig the bike to go 40 miles per hour, but it's illegal. I think it goes by category. Category 3 is the fastest. So yes and no and kinda. So I'm not an expert on this subject, but yes, you can take and override the computers on these e-bikes. The Sauron, the e-bikes that are like motorcycles that just have pegs and they're basically an electric motorcycle, you can get those things to go 70, 80 miles an hour. You can get them to go 60, no problem. There was one that I was looking at that had already been hacked, and it could go 60 miles an hour. I watched YouTube videos of it. This dude was going all over Los Angeles, somewhere outside of LA in the mountains. He was going on like 30, 40 mile rides with this bike, and it had pedals. It had crank arms and pedals. So if it has crank arms and pedals, it qualifies different as just having pegs sticking out the side. Like you can go whizzing by a cop, and if the cop sees you got cranks and pedals, then it's basically an electric bicycle. But if it's just got pegs sticking out, they're kind of like this. You're in this gray area where they could pinch you and call it a regular motorcycle and demand that you have insurance and license plates and all that kind of crap that goes with owning and having a motorcycle license on top of it. I don't really see them doing that. Like, they don't seem to give a shit around here where I live. Kids are riding around on these e-bikes, motorcycle e-bikes, flying around, going down the road at 40, 50 miles an hour, and no one gives a shit. So it's just going to depend on where you live, how many Karens are in your neighborhood, all that kind of stuff. But the pedal-assisted bikes, to me, so here's the problem. A lot of these motorcycle, I'm going to call them electric motorcycle, they weigh like 150 pounds. Even if it has crank arms and pedals and a chain, and technically you can pedal this thing, if your battery dies or something goes wrong, how are you going to pedal your 150-pound bike home? And it's going to have like one gear, maybe it has a rear derailleur, I don't know. And it's 150 pounds, plus a lot of those have a motorcycle seat. So that's comfortable when you're just going wah down the road. But when you have to pedal home on a 150-pound bike and your knees are up to your chin because your seat is a motorcycle seat and it's not a bicycle seat, you're going to have a miserable day. But if you ride a Specialized turbo e-bike or a Trek or a Cannondale or a Greg LeMond or a bicycle brand e-bike that's pedal assisted, whether it has a full throttle mode or not, they're going to weigh about 30 pounds, maybe 40 pounds max with the battery. The battery's most of the weight. And when your battery dies, you're on an actual bicycle with bicycle wheels, with bicycle pedals, bicycle crank arms, bicycle derailleurs, front and rear, bicycle shifting, brakes, everything. It's basically a bicycle with a motor instead of an electric motorcycle. And a 40-pound bicycle is not that ridiculous if it's a proper bicycle. So like a Specialized turbo commuter bike, they have mountain bikes and they have road. hybrid style bikes that are more like city bikes. Those specialized city bikes, I've watched a lot of videos. People are flying around 25 miles an hour without any problem. And if the battery dies, you're still on a bicycle. You're still on an actual bicycle that will behave and feel like a regular bicycle. And you're not going to have those problems with trying to pedal a 150-pound behemoth up and down hills to get home that was never meant to be pedaled in the first place. The pedals and crank arms are just there to make the cops see that it's a bicycle. So I don't think I would ever get the electric motorcycle versus the pedal assisted bicycle. There's a dude, his name is Richie from Boston. Maybe some of you know who he is. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a bunch of them. He's on Rumble and a bunch of other places. He was talking one day about he was fat. Like he's out of shape and out overweight. And he was like, he wanted to get a mountain bike and get into the game. And he went and looked. And he was like, I can either get a regular mountain bike or I can get one of these e-bikes, the pedal-assisted e-bikes. And he went, yeah, Blue Sky, she knows who I'm talking about. So he got the pedal-assisted e-bike, mountain bike, and he said that the game changer for him was if he got a mountain bike, just a plain mountain bike, his first handful of mountain bike rides would have been so rough and so difficult to go up and down the hills and everything that it would have turned him off and he would have walked away from it and said, to hell with it, I don't want to do this. But instead, he went and got an e-bike. And so he burns he said he would burn, he goes on long rides. He'll go on like a 25-mile ride on the e-bike, but you have to pedal and you have to work at it. And sometimes the battery can die and you still got to pedal back to where you're going or whatever. But he's talked about it in terms of I go out and work out and I bust my ass and I burn all these calories and I come home tired because it's a workout. I'm breathing heavy. I'm working out. But I'll cover 25 miles in the same amount of time that it would take me to go 4 on a regular bike, maybe 5. And on a regular bike, if I'm only going 5 miles and I'm totally killing myself to do it, he was going to lose interest really fast. But the fact that he can put out the same amount of effort exercise-wise, but cover 25 miles in the same amount of energy, then that was like a game changer for him. And he started riding it every day. And he started, and I was looking at it like, you got a point there. That would be a good thing. And then in the prepper community, people are talking about, because the main reason I don't want an e-bike is because, like I told you, things break on my bike all the time. It don't matter. I've got reliable bicycles. And when you ride 3,000 miles from January until today, things break. And you don't know when it's going to happen. You're going to get a flat tire. You're going to break a spoke. You're going to have parts loosen up. You're going to have maintenance issues. On a mountain bike, you might break a chain. Mountain bikes break all the time. I'm looking at my bike right now. I've had to replace brake pads this year twice. Lots of different things can happen, and they happen, like sometimes they happen out of nowhere. And so now I'm thinking, okay, now I get an e-bike. Now I've got an electric motor and batteries and all these other things that can break out of nowhere on top of the stuff that's already going to break and have maintenance issues out of nowhere. And so I look at it from that perspective, like, do I want the extra hassle just to be able to haul ass to and from? But in the prepper world, they're talking about, if you got to get the fuck out of Dodge because the shit just hit the fan or whatever, and okay, so how much time do I have? If I got to be somewhere in 3 hours or whatever, I'm on a regular bicycle and I'm carrying a loaded backpack or a trailer or some sort of thing, like a rack on the back of my bike or however I'm carrying some gear, how much distance can I cover in a span of 3, 4, 5 hours? 5 hours, I can go about 100 miles. With that's really pushing myself. And that would be carrying a light load, and that would be like I'm in the best shape. 5 hours, 6 hours to go 100 miles. That's like really, like, I don't even know if I could do that right now. I don't even think I'm in good enough shape right now to do that. I get maybe 7 hours for sure, but nah, I don't know. That's 20-mile-an-hour average speed. I can average 15 all day long without trying. So somewhere in the middle is where it's going to be. But on an e-bike, let's say the range is only 30 miles in eco mode. 50, the Specialized Turbo e-bike has an eco mode where it's not using as much power to help you, but you get a 50-mile range. So what if I only use the throttle when I'm going uphill and everything else I turn that off? And it has regenerative braking, so it will recharge itself when you're braking going downhill. And it has regenerative motors inside the hubs, so when you're going downhill, it's got like a dynamo style system to recharge itself. So you do get some of your power back on the downhill if you turn that on. I don't know how all that works, but you do get some of that stuff. But if you're conservative, could you go 100 miles in 4 hours? Could you go 100 miles in 3.5 hours on something like that, where you're going uphill and you can maintain 20, 25 miles an hour going uphill, which would normally, if your speed going uphill normally drops down to like 5 to 10 miles an hour up a decent sized hill, like a Pittsburgh hill, and you can flip a switch and maintain 25 miles an hour, crest the hill, turn the e-bike motor off, and fly down and stay on the flats and conserve, like use it as a boost to get you up hills. Could you cover 100 miles in half the time that would take you on a regular bike? And I'm thinking, that would be useful in a situation where you got to get the hell out of town. Like, I don't know, like here in Houston, say there's an evacuation because of the hurricanes and whatnot. It's going to be nothing but traffic everywhere. So even if I did have a car, will I be able to get out of here? I'd get on a bicycle and fly out of here. I can just split the lane and just like passing all the cars. I don't know. I think I'd rather take a bike to get out of town if it came down to something like that and the roads are all clogged. I feel like I'd get away faster. Out of the Florida Keys, you got one. There's something coming to Key West. You got to get out of the Keys. Take the road, take the bike. You'll be faster on a bicycle than a car. You're going to be sitting in that long line of traffic, bumper to bumper, the whole entire length from Key West all the way, all the way to Miami on one road. But you could get on a bicycle. I mean, that's a long distance, but you could get on a bicycle. I guarantee you could beat traffic on the bicycle getting out of there faster than you would in a car. I mean, you want to get out of there before the hurricane gets there, because unless the wind's to your back, if you got the hurricane blowing you forward, that might be a nice, fun ride. But riding into the hurricane, not so much. So JS says, did you hear Shimano got a class action lawsuit because of their cranks being defective? No, I didn't hear about that. Doesn't surprise me. A lot of the new stuff for bicycling is, especially road bikes, I'm a little turned off by what's going on in the bike world now. A lot of the newest style bicycles, the Tour de France, the $10,000 and up carbon fiber bicycles that are out now, the 16-pounders, they're so full of proprietary parts, electronic shifting. You have to charge your your shifters and derailleurs now before you go on a ride, because there's no cables. And a lot of them are wireless now. So they don't even have wires going from the shifter to it's wireless. You push a button and it shifts. If the battery goes dead in the middle of the ride, you can't shift anymore. Like I've never had a derailleur cable snap during a bicycle ride. I've had derailleur cables on bikes for 10 plus years that never had a problem. The proprietary parts that they're putting on these bikes now, you buy a $10,000 road racing bike and a year later you need to replace a part and they're like, oh, we don't make that anymore. Guess you're just going to have to buy a new bike. Like they're like, it's like the electric car. I'm not buying no freaking electric car. When I first moved to Houston and there was some money in the bank and I started looking for cars, there was this Smart 4.2 electric car that kept popping up real dirt cheap. The smart car, I wouldn't want a smart car, but I was like, a little tiny electric car like that, for what I have to use it for might actually not be that bad. So I looked into it and I'm like, they were like 10,000 to between 10 and 15,000 for these, like almost brand new. So I Google, I'm like, what does it cost when you have to replace the battery in the Smart 4.2? $30,000 for a freaking battery. How the fuck is the battery cost more than the car? When the car, like, how does the battery for a Tesla, if you buy the Cybertruck, let's say, and you pay full price for the Cybertruck, yet when you replace the battery, it costs more than the truck to replace. How the hell does the battery cost more than the truck? Or all these electric cars are like that. So your battery goes bad. Can't afford. Nobody's ever going to pay to replace the battery in an electric vehicle when it costs twice as much as the vehicle. So now they're just like, you got a perfectly good vehicle that works perfectly fine, except for the battery. And so now you got to go get a whole new vehicle because you need a new battery. What the hell? Like, this is not sustainable. All these eco warriors talking about sustainable this and don't pollute that. They're the ones that want you to drive the electric car. And we've got landfills full of electric cars that are in perfectly good shape with bad batteries, so you can't drive them. The motor's fine, the brakes are fine, the wheels, the tires, all the components of the car are just fine. The battery went bad, so I had to go to the landfill. Great job, eco morons. Like, who the fuck? I mean, how is that? But that's what they're trying to do with everything now. And now they're trying to do it with bicycles. You buy a bicycle, you have it, a $10,000 bicycle. It's a year old. It needs maintenance. Something wore out. And they're like, oh, we don't make that anymore because it's some proprietary thing for that proprietary bicycle that was designed exactly for that bicycle. And now they don't make it anymore. And now you're shit out of luck. 10 grand down the toilet. These phones, the battery on my phone here is bulging out and the screen is popping them. It's separating. And I've got my brand new phone sitting right here. So I'm not worried about that. So I'm just waiting for Amazon to deliver a phone case tonight. In fact, I'm going to check on this because it should have been here by now. Where is it? Oh, it was delivered. Huh. I didn't even see them pull in. So here we go. I'll see where they left it. Maybe they left it right on my... Look at that. It's right on my porch. I never even knew. So I got a phone case. Perfect. But I remember when smartphones came out, you could replace the battery. You could go get a battery, put it back on. Boom, problem solved. I'm stubborn as hell about replacing a cell phone. I'm keeping my new phone for 5 years. But if the battery goes bad, you got to replace the phone. Or you take it to some special, they can take the whole thing apart and these fucking, I don't even know how. Like somehow they get in there with tweezers and tools and they can take your phone apart and somehow get the battery out, put a new one in. I can't do that. But that's how they get you now. Like you can have like all these Bluetooth speakers. I have a handful of Bluetooth speakers. All of them have a battery that you can't replace. My Bose speaker has a battery that's replaceable from what I understand. You can take the back off, unplug the battery, put a new battery in, and put it back together and you're good to go. But these other Bluetooth speakers, when the battery's gone, the speaker's done. You got a perfectly good piece of equipment that would work for 30 years without any problems and be perfectly fine. But because a battery went bad, it's toast. And like, that's how they want to make all of our stuff. now, to where you can't repair anything yourself. You can't replace the battery when the battery's no good. And they're trying to do, now they're doing it with bicycles. So this thing about Shimano getting sued for defective cranks, yeah, doesn't surprise me at all. I would love to have a Tour de France road racing bike and go, oh my goodness, I bet I could fly on that thing. That would be so much fun. But getting a flat tire on a modern bike, that's a nightmare. Can't even fix that out on the road anymore. They're tubeless tires. They don't have inner tubes in them. They're full of sealant, like slime, like Fix-A-Flat. So that if something punctures the tire's supposed to seal itself real quick, but that doesn't always work. And I've seen this happen. I've watched people go through this many times out on a mountain bike ride. There are good reasons to have tubeless tires on a mountain bike. Don't get me wrong. It will reduce the amount of flat tires you get overall. But when you get one and it can't seal itself, you're in for a world of all kinds of fun stuff while everybody's standing around going, come on, man, hurry up. Because you're going to have to put an inner tube in it to get home, but you're going to be covered in this white slime that comes out of the tire when you take the tire off the bike. And then or when you get home, you've got about 5 hours of BS in front of you to fix problem and get your bike back and running and good to go again. When I get a flat tire, which has happened to me twice this year on the road, takes me about 5 minutes to get the tire, to pull out the inner tube, pull out whatever. Both times were a puncture. One was a screw, or one was a nail, and the other one was a staple sticking out of the tire, because I ride good puncture resistant tires. So if they do get a flat, something went in that tire. They're not just going to fall. Glass isn't going to do it. Stones aren't going to do it. It's going to take, I can go up to 2,000 miles on these Continental Ride Tour tires before I ever get a flat. But if you ride over a nail at the right angle, or a staple that's sticking up like this, you'll get a flat. Blue Sky says they want to do subscription-based models for everything they can think of. Absolutely. That's the other thing. Okay, so there's bicycle. We'll talk about cars and bicycles with that. I forget what brand it is. Cervelo, one of these $10,000 road racing bikes, they have power meters built into the crank arms. There's different ways to monitor, to measure the watts power that you're putting into the pedals. You can get a set of pedals that'll measure your watts, and it feeds it through a radio signal to your cycling computer, to your watch, to your app on your phone, whatever you want to get it with. It'll project that, just like a heart rate monitor. So power meters are built into either a set of pedals, or preferably the best ones are in the crank arms on the bicycle. And so there's a brand, I don't know what brand it was. I'm just gonna guess Cervelo or one of these brands, these high end. You're paying $10,000 for a road racing bike that has a power meter in the cranks, and they're telling you you've got to pay for a power meter subscription in order to use it. You got to pay a monthly fee to use the thing that you bought, a power meter in your crank arm. But they got some goofy ass system around it so that it only works if you pay them a monthly fee to use it. But it's there, you own it. You own the thing, but you can't do it. So, like, say you go and you want a power meter on your bike, you can go buy a power meter crank set. You can go buy a power meter set of pedals. They're expensive. It's like, for a basic set of power meter pedals, it's $500. About $1,000 for a better set. They have one-sided and two-sided. A single-sided power meter pedal, only one of the pedals has the power meter in, and it estimates what you're doing on the other side. If you get a double-sided power meter set of pedals, the power meter's on both pedals, and it actually measures the power in both of your legs. $500 for single-sided, $1,000 for double-sided, pretty consistent. That's out of my league. I don't got money for that. Crank arms are even more. So you're buying a $10,000 bicycle, and you don't pay a subscription for this crap. You buy a set of power meter pedals or a power meter crank set, and you have a power meter now. It would be like the heart rate monitor I just bought, having to pay a monthly fee to use the thing I just bought. No. Garmin, this watch, if I had to pay a monthly fee to use this watch, I wouldn't do it. Garmin has a paid version of their app where they give you more stuff in the app than you would already get using the app for free that comes with the device. But they don't force you to pay them to use the device. And the information that they give you in the app is great. For me, there's absolutely no reason to pay for the app. But that's what they're doing. They're doing it with bicycles now. BMWs. If you buy a BMW that has heated seats and some other things in the car, heated seats. That means you should be able to push a button and have your seats warm up. Nope, doesn't work. You got to pay a monthly subscription. You got to pay a subscription fee, a monthly fee to use your heated seat in your BMW, or it won't work. What happens when the company just decides to discontinue all this software and stuff, and you buy a used BMW that's like 10, 15 years old and they don't support, because all that software is outdated and we don't support that anymore. And you've got heated seats that you can't use because you can't turn them on because there's no subscription fee. Of course somebody hacked them. JS says some guys hacked the BMW seats. Of course they did. Like, that's what it takes, though. It's like, okay, John Deere tractors. How many farmers buy a tractor from John Deere? You know, a $200,000 tractor for your farm. And if the smallest little problem goes bad, you can't fix it yourself. You are required to have a certified John Deere something or other come to your farm with the special John Deere computer, because the John Deere tractor can't talk to any other computer but the John Deere computer. And so, like, they have to repair your John Deere tractor. You don't have the right to repair your own stuff anymore. Now with warranties, if your tractor's under warranty, they're supposed to come fix it. But the point is, once that warranty is over, then you should be able to fix the thing yourself or have your own mechanic fix it. And like Angels in Our Midst says, if you touch it, all the warranties are off. Absolutely. My MacBook right now, I need to clean it out. Now, I'm outside of AppleCare and all the warranties on this MacBook. But if you buy a MacBook Pro and you so much as take the cover off to clean the dust out, warranty is void. If you paid for 3 years of AppleCare and you need to clean the dust out inside your MacBook, as soon as you open that cover, boom, it's done. They've got a thing in there, so they'll know if you popped that off or not. JS says that's why farmers spend a ton of money for a 25-year-old tractor. Exactly. I mean, this is part of the reason why I am almost... Now, there's that guy in California who says he wants to give me that car if I'm willing to have it shipped. That's a mid-90s Honda. You can't really go wrong. Those things last forever. I had a 96 Jeep Cherokee. That was the most indestructible vehicle I've ever owned. You know, those of you who weren't here when I was talking about it, it was stolen in a high-speed car chase with the police, crashed into a curb at 50 miles an hour, caught on fire and allowed to burn until the fire department came and put it out. And then it was towed to the impound. And the impound told me they wanted to charge me $150 to tow it from where it was parked to the front parking lot of the impound lot. And I said, no. I went back with a screwdriver, started right up, drove it off the lot. Jeeps are hit or miss. Angels in Our Midst is asking, why does Jeep get a bad rap these days? Jeep is very much hit or miss. They're either good or they're bad. I've had bad and I've had good. My Cherokee was the best, the mid-90s, 1995 to 2000-ish Cherokee, the XJ, is what it's called. They're the best. Like, they are indestructible vehicles. Now, I had a JK Wrangler. The JK Wranglers went from, I want to say 2007-ish to 2017, 2018, in there somewhere. So my JK Wrangler was a 2008. They're pretty much the same. If you have 2007 to 2017, 18, two-door, I'd never own a four-door Wrangler. They're underpowered. They have a V6 engine in it that's like 3.4 liter, I think. I don't know. They're not very powerful. I could barely get the Jeep Wrangler to go the speed limit on the highway. When I put a hard top on, I was able to go maybe 80, 85 miles an hour, and out on the highway going uphill, any incline at all, 1 degree, you can't be in fifth or sixth gear. Fifth or sixth gear exists on that gearbox just to avoid wasting gas when you're going highway speeds. As soon as there's an incline, I had to learn to double clutch consistently on that vehicle, because I'd be going about 70 miles an hour down the highway, and I would have to double clutch and drop it into fourth anytime I went uphill, the slightest hill. And outside of Pittsburgh, there's a lot of hills. And so I'm constantly having to downshift, not from sixth to fifth, but from sixth to fourth. And so I'm like double clutching and blipping the throttle and dropping it in so it's nice and smooth into fourth gear. And I just figured out the rhythm to it. And so I could do it without thinking about it. But it was like, that's how you have to drive those things, because they're so underpowered. My Mini Cooper was a 6-speed manual, and you could start at a red light in second gear and take right the fuck off. And you could be in sixth gear and go uphill and have no problem. No problem. There was nothing but power in that car, and it was like a 260 horsepower go-kart. That car was freaking fast. I was shocked the first time I drove that car. I was not expecting what that car actually was when I bought that, when I test drove that thing, and I was like, yo, I'm getting it. That thing was fun to drive. But you don't buy a Wrangler because you want to go fast. And the four-door Wrangler has the same engine as the two-door, and it weighs a hell of a lot more. I just couldn't imagine driving a four-door Wrangler around town. It would drive me nuts. The two-door was great. All my Mini Cooper I sold. Angels wants to know what happened. My Mini Cooper was sold in 2022, and then when I was arrested by the FBI, I lost my pickup truck and my Jeep. They're gone. So I lost pretty much everything. And the Jeep had sentimental value for various reasons. That kind of like, you can see it in my face a little bit right now, because there were some things about that Jeep that had meaning, but it is what it is. And the truck wasn't paid off. The pickup truck, my Nissan Frontier, I took out a 7-year loan, but I was on pace to pay it off in 2.5 years. Because I was making huge payments on it, and just trying to knock it down. And so I was above water when I got arrested, but my ex took it to a dealership and got the dealership to pay off the loan and kick in a little extra toward a car she was buying. And it all just kind of worked out. So I didn't have to take a hit on a repossession or anything like that. And nobody had to continue making the payments on it. And the Jeep I bought outright, the Wrangler, when I bought it cash. And so that was mine from day one. But it was gone. I had to use it to pay somebody off and to leave me alone, basically. And so I don't know, in hindsight, being 2020, I probably could have kept my Jeep stored somewhere in Pittsburgh with a friend and have that today. In hindsight, I probably should have. But I feel like it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to, so I'm not going to be bitter about it. That certainly would have helped to have that vehicle when I came home from prison. That certainly would have been but who knows? Sitting for 20 months without being driven and, having a vehicle sit that long, who knows what problems it would have had if nobody was out regularly using it. And so, like JS says, it'll work out now. If this check that I'm supposed to get from the money I didn't know I had in this account I never knew I had comes my way, I'll be able to do something with that. I'll be able to get a car. So, I won't be able to go out and just buy a brand new car. I might even get I might be able to get a decent car and put so much money as a down payment that the monthly payments are so low that I can handle it. But I kind of don't want that in my life because of how unstable everything is. So really what it boils down to is if that money falls into my hands and I get it in the bank, I got to sit down and just pray, God, you tell me what to do. I don't want it to be my decision. Whatever you want me to do, whatever car you have in mind, whatever vehicle. Is it a mid-90s Cherokee? Angels in Our Midst is asking. So long story short, the landlord who owns the house I used to live in sent me a letter that came to her house. And it turned out it was from a bank saying I have a whole bunch of money in this account. And the reason that the money's there is because when I was fired from a job, I was fired from a remote job in 2021 because I didn't take the vaccine. And I filed for unemployment and they wouldn't give me unemployment. And I was unemployed for about 5 months. And I was fighting them. And when I went to jail, I got a hearing notice that my appeal, I had to go to this hearing after I filed an appeal. I was in jail, so I couldn't go to the hearing. And so I was like, whatever, it's done. Well, it turns out they ruled in my favor in my absence at this hearing, and they gave me a lump sum payment for 5 months of unemployment. And it's a lot of money. And it's been sitting in an account for 3 years, or it's been sitting in an account since 2022. And I never knew it was there. And they're telling me that I have until August 23rd to claim it, or it's going to be sent back to the state. And so I called them on Tuesday to claim it because I just found out about it on Saturday. And now I'm going through this major hassle because now this bank, the people at the bank are trying to run out the clock on me so that they don't have to send me the check, but they're going to have to send it back to the state. But I'm just going to have faith that God, I don't believe God sent me this letter in the mail on Saturday randomly with all this money just to pull it away and say, haha, gotcha, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he did that. So I'm just going to be patient, and I have a feeling it'll all work out. And my propensity to worry about things before they come to pass, I just got to cool it and not do that. And, if they decide to send the money back to the state, then I got to go through Pennsylvania and say, look, and go through it that way. I'll get the money. I'm going to get it. It's a lot of money. It's too much money to walk away from. I look at it I remember I was telling you people about how when I moved out of the tool shed and the landlord, the slumlord that I was renting from, remember how I said I could take this guy to court and clean his clock and get thousands of dollars from him in court? But all I wanted to do was walk away from it because I didn't want that negative energy in my life anymore. And I think I said on a video, I got to work it out. I don't need the money. The money's not worth the hassle that I will go through to get it, and the negative energy and the stress and having this scumbag in my life and still being a part of my life and all that, and walk away from it. So now now that I'm settled in here, I'm like, that money had a way of finding its way to me anyway, because I would have never known about this account. I would have never been homeless. I would have never been homeless if I knew this money existed. It was enough money I could have. Nothing I can do about it now, but I absolutely would have not been homeless. I would have been able to go right out and find a place to live somehow. I would have been able to go to Pittsburgh and say, I want to go to Pittsburgh and find a place to live in Pittsburgh and just move. Probation would have done it in a heartbeat. They would have let me move to Pittsburgh right away, because that's where my case is based. So that would have been like an automatic approval to go to Pittsburgh, and get out of Buffalo. But to come to Texas, that was a whole nother thing. And that's why it took so long. But if I would have been able to get a hold of probation with knowing that I have this money and knowing that I can stay with a friend for a couple of weeks while I look for an apartment, I would have had money for the apartment. I would have had everything else. Angels is asking, will you move back? I want to. I'm like, Texas is, I really haven't found anything I like about Texas yet, except for the weather. And I'm 1,500 miles away from my kids. And it is what it is. I don't think that, I don't think I would hate it here, and I don't hate it here, but I don't think I would hate it if I had the ability to get around and explore this place and experience it. But right now I go to a bakery, I come here, I sit in front of a computer, I don't do anything. I haven't really seen anything. I don't really know what, I've been in Houston for almost a year and I haven't done squat. I haven't experienced this place like I do other places I've lived. And so I don't want to judge it based on what I know, but I know that just this last week, for example, the whole country is legalizing weed. And I'm not smoking weed right now because that'll just get me put back in prison. So screw that. Prison's not worth weed. But Texas has doubled down. They're like, not only are we going to make all THC products illegal, they've passed a law making having weed a felony with a year in prison, while the rest of the country is saying, go ahead and smoke weed. And it's like, these dumb hillbillies, if they banned Coors Light in Texas and they made it illegal to drink Coors Light, these hillbillies would be on horseback galloping through the fucking Capitol building with AR-15s and cowboy hats on, screaming and yelling about why you taking away our Coors Light. But they're fine with enacting the police state to put someone in prison and give them a felony conviction and put them in prison for a year for smoking a joint. What the hell? No, this isn't my jam. This isn't where I want to live. Texas to me is just as much of a crappy police state as New York State is, but in a different way. It's like, I talk about this, Republicans and Democrats. I get along. There's four kinds of people. Ignorant people who don't know anything about the government, don't want to know, don't know who the vice president is, don't know who the governor is, don't know who their senators are and all that. They don't care. They don't want to know. Don't talk to them about it. They just don't care. People that are wide awake, people who know what's going on, people who are hip to the scheme, the tinfoil hat nut jobs. And then you've got Republicans and Democrats. They're the worst. They're the worst. Because now that Trump is in power, for example, I watch all these Republicans now hooting and hollering and cheering and all happy because Trump is using the police state to do all kinds of big brother police state stuff. And he doesn't care, or the Republicans don't care about the police state as long as they get to use the police state to ruin people's lives that they don't like. And the same thing with the Democrats. The Democrats love the police state as long as the police state is used to go after the Trump supporters and all the people they don't like. But at the end of the day, so I'm telling all these Republicans, I'm like, yeah, you love the police state now because Trump just filled the city of Washington, D.C. with the National Guard and took over the city and turned D.C. into a police state because of the crime. Well, yeah, the crime is bad. But you're all cheering that there's a police state now in Washington, D.C. You were all mad when Joe Biden brought the National Guard to Washington, D.C. and had them set up all over town during the insurrection. So, you don't get it both ways. And when the next guy comes and turns the police state against you dumbass hillbillies who are all cheering for it right now, you are the ones who enabled it. And you are the ones who allowed it to keep going. And now it's just turned around and now they're using it against you. But you were fine using it against anybody you don't like. I am against the freaking police state. I want to ride around smoking a joint with a gun on my shoulder and be left the fuck alone and keep my money that I make. That pretty much covers it, right? And so I always got along really good with the people who are either wide awake, we're talking about number 2 and number 1 people who don't care at all and don't want to know. I'm okay. I mean, I'm like, ignorance is bliss, they say. And so I understand that. I woke up. I didn't choose to wake up. Waking up happened to me because I knew somebody who died on TWA Flight 800, and that just led down. It was like a snowball effect. I started to learn things because of that, and it just kind of snowballed into, oh my God, these people are insanely corrupt. And at first it was like, wow, the Clintons are so bad. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, the Bushes are bad too. And it just, the Obamas, they're terrible. And Trump, I don't know yet, but I've got high hopes for the guy. I just feel like it's more of the same. They got a lot of the MAGA people are duped into thinking he's going to do all these wonderful things. And at the end of the 4 years, you're going to be left with nothing. You got alligator Alcatraz. That's all you got was alligator Alcatraz and, I don't know, 1 or 2 other things. I don't know. But yeah, I woke up and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's the red pill, the blue pill. Once you take that red pill, there's no going back. You can't just wake up and it's not there anymore. So Blue Sky says I got woken up because they just kept spraying the crap out of my blue skies. I will tell you what, I don't see that in Houston. I don't see that happening here. If I see a chemtrail, it's like once every other month, I might see a streak in the sky. But no, I don't see it. The skies are either bright blue and crystal clear, or they're overcast, or they're just big puffy clouds because it's a hot day and they're getting ready to create a thunderstorm. But I don't see the chemtrails here. Back in New York, Pittsburgh, Danbury, Connecticut, when I was in prison, the whole sky was just crisscross, 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 and you would see them. There was a day I was at the Grand Canyon years ago, and it was a bright, sunny day with no clouds in the sky, and they started spraying the zigzaggers, the crosses. And because you're in the desert, the air is different. And so you watch these chemtrails spread out throughout the entire day. And by the time the sunset came, they had all sunk down into the canyon. And there was like this nasty haze looking across the Grand Canyon, which is like 10 miles wide. And you could just see the haze creeping in from the sky after they had spent all day spraying. And that, the typical chemtrail sunset where you don't actually see the sun, and it's just kind of like this hazy muck of cloud cover that's not real clouds, but the chemical clouds, and some zigzaggers going, and you can tell that they're zigzagging the sky to follow the sun. And it's just, I'm a photographer, so sunsets are a thing. And I've been screwed out of countless sunsets because of the chemtrails over my days as a photographer. It's up in the Northeast. It's very difficult to see a sunset without the chemtrails in the way. Almost never happens. I can still make it work, but I've got a lot of sunset photos. They're full of chemtrails. And, but yeah. But I don't see that here in Houston. And I don't know if it's the weather, the wind. I don't know what it is. But I go outside and I don't think I can count I've been here almost a year. And I don't think I can count the number of chemtrails I've seen in a year on one hand. Like, I don't think I mean, maybe once in a great while, I'll see a couple of streaks in the sky, but bright blue, clear freaking skies all the time here. Or puffy clouds because it's humid. It's a tropical climate. So it does get, when it gets hot and it's humid, bloop, the clouds get puffy and big and then they turn into thunderstorms. That happens. Or you wake up and it's a cloudy day and it's overcast all day or whatever, but that's normal. Like, that's not out of bounds. But I don't see the chemtrails. I don't see the haziness. I see sunsets that are real sunsets. I don't see that. I don't see the chemtrails. Maybe the people that live in the woodlands here, the rich people, have signed a pact where they won't chemtrail themselves. I don't know. Like, there's something here that I don't see it. So there's another thing I can thumbs up on Texas. Maybe I don't know. Does Austin get chemtrailed every day? I don't know. Like, all I'm saying is, here in Houston, my little slice of Houston that I see on a regular basis, I don't notice it. I don't see it. I'm outside regularly. I would notice. In fact, I would notice even more now because I'm not seeing the chemtrails all the time. If I did see them, I'd be like, yo, there's some chemtrails. And I have seen it. I have seen a few streaks in the sky here and there. But it's so far and few between that I really don't like. I'm used to not seeing them. I'm used to bright blue, open skies where if I was away from the city, you would see like the Milky Way galaxy with your naked eye, and you would see like real stars and stuff like that. If I would just take a bike ride out to the national forest and find an open space, oh my God, the skies here would probably be insane at night. Probably be real fun to take a picture of that. So I'm not giving up on Houston. I'm here. I signed a lease. I'm here for a year. I'm 3 months in. I just made rent payment number 3. So, 9 more, 9 more. And then I'll figure it out. If I really don't feel like changing probation again. Somebody asked, do you want to move back to Pittsburgh? Yeah, I do. But do I want to move back to Pittsburgh before probation ends and go through the hassle of a probation transfer? No. I finally got to the point here in Houston where my probation officer is pretty much hands off. I'm almost halfway through probation. Blue Sky asks, how many months do you have left? I had 3 years. In October, it'll be a year and a half. I'm eligible for early release, but I haven't gone through the process of trying to get it. I'm just busy. At this point, it's really not a big part of my life right now. It's not like the probation officer shows up I've seen him twice since I saw him 3 times. And when I was at my friend's house, once when I first moved here, then I had to go back again. And then he came to the house and saw me, and then that was it. And then he came to see me when I moved into the tool shed once. And when I moved here, he stopped over and saw me. And the last time he saw me here at this place, he was here for like 4 minutes. He was like, he even apologized. He's like, sorry, man. He's like, I don't want to do this to you, but anytime you move, I have to come look at your place. It's just protocol. He's like, you're at the bottom of my pile. That's what he said. His exact words are like, you're at the bottom of my pile, but I had to get out here and do this. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm at the bottom of your pile, you can just leave it there. Keep that at the bottom of your pile all you want. My son does not have his driver's license yet. He's 15 right now. So it'll be a while. And, but yeah, I'm just like, I would love to be able to go up there and spend a little bit of time, like actually spend a little bit of time up there. And this place is not big enough. Angels in Our Midst is saying maybe they'll release you and you'll get a surprise letter like you did from the bank. Maybe. Like, that's why I'm not trying to I guess when it's time, it'll be when it's time, I'll know. Either I'll just get to the point where I finally just reach out to somebody and say, hey, can you help me apply for early release? Maybe my lawyer, whatever. I don't think the lawyer or the public defender will do anything because my case is over, but she's nice. I mean, I could at least see if she'll point me in the right direction. The probation officer said he won't endorse it, but he won't get in the way. He won't oppose it. He said, if I apply for early release, he won't object to it. He's like, I just won't put my name on it and endorse it. The way it kind of sounded to me is if I'm pretending to be the probation officer, it's like, man, I'm just got this government job and I've got like this many years until I get my pension and I just don't want any drama and I just want to get out the door without any issues. You know, I don't need my name getting in the paper. I try to keep my name out of things and blah, 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 and this and that. He just had that attitude. Like, I think you can, he's like, I won't get in the way. If you apply for early release, he even said, he's like, you should try talking to your lawyer. You could probably file for it yourself. He's like, but when I get the paperwork from the judge, I'm not going to oppose it. I've got, you're compliant, etc. He's like, I won't get in your way, but I'm not going to like do anything to like, he's like, I don't put my name out there if I don't have to. So, but anyway, it is kind of that time. It's 20 after 8, and we got 13 people in the chat. If you want to throw a thumbs up, that would be pretty cool. That would help with the algorithm and all that. When I get off of here, I'm going to change. What I do is when the video is processing in the background for the replay, I turn the ads on. So if you watch the replay, there'll be ads. I don't know how it works. It should be just like a regular YouTube video. But if you do ads during the live stream, if an ad comes up, like right now, the next 20, 30 seconds or whatever, you're not going to hear the live stream. And then that's going to cut you back into the live stream and you're going to miss whatever anybody was talking about. So I'm not going to do that because I don't like that. I don't like watching it. Now, if I use Brave or a browser full of ad blockers, then I will, I don't have to watch the ads. But what's up, Jared? You're just in time to hear everybody say goodbye. But you can watch the replay. But if you watch the replay, it's probably going to have ads. So if you want to catch up, that's cool. If not, see you next week at the same time. And but I'm getting kind of hungry, and I don't know what I'm going to make to eat tonight. And it's probably going to be kind of in the middle of being good for me or not. I don't know. I didn't really prepare anything. I think it's going to be like cheese and crackers, some pepperoni, salami. But it was fun hanging out with you guys, as always, and I'm glad you guys gave me a lot of stuff to talk about, questions to answer, and all that stuff. And so with that, I'll let you all go, and we'll talk again next week. Peace out.